Hi, I want to talk to you about the fundamentals of a career. And I start this topic because a friend of mine asked me the other day, how did I manage to go and work in the UK? Because I graduated in France and I wanted to go and work in the UK because I wanted to become bilingual, to speak English. So my first tongue, like my mother tongue is French, right? And so I realized when he asked me that question that I had never thought about the different steps, the approach that I took in my career to reach the goals that I set for myself constantly, right? And so I decided then that I'm going to share with people around, people that can need help. I'm going to try and help people to navigate careers, to make sure that they can make and the best of their careers, right? Because I believe that a successful career is a career that is aligned with your values, with what you love to do, and at the same time, a career where you make the most out of it. I mean by that, the most of money, but also the most of freedom and fulfillment, right? So this channel is for that, is to share everything I know that can help you create that career that is aligned with your values and that career where you make the most out of it financially, but also as a human being, like in fulfillment, right? So 4 things that I want to share with you today that I believe are fundamentals for a successful career. Those 4 pillars are the stepping stone if you want to create a massive and amazing and legitimate growth career. But it's not enough, right? It's just the basics. Look at it like a foundation, right? You have the building that you need to just build, like you need to get that building goes up, right? But you need the foundation first. Those are the 4 foundations that I believe you need to have. And it's most of the time it's really mindset, right? It's always like that. Mindset is the foundation. You know what we say is like 80% of mindset or 90% of mindset and 10% of action. It also applies in a career, right? So the first thing that I want to share with you is you have to be willing to grow constantly. I see that mistake every single time. So many people, they get their degrees and they feel like they stopped learning. They feel like school is over. They don't realize that it's just the start of school, right? Once you have your degree, it's the start of true learning because you go out there, you go into the world, and this is where you learn real skills. In school, you learn knowledge. There you learn skills because skills is knowledge applied to a real situation in a constant basis. That's how you build your skills, right? So you have to be willing to learn constantly. You have to be willing to grow constantly. You have to be intentional in your growth, intentional in your learning. If you have the same skills that you had a year ago, there's a problem in your career. If you're stalling in your career, look at what are the skills that you have gained, right? So that's the first thing. Constant growth, constant learning. It never stops. You learn from every situation. This mindset, it's important. That's the first mindset that you need to have. That's the mindset shift that you need to have if you want to propel your career. The second mindset is you have to focus on communication. It's not enough to be good at something. People need to know that you're good at it. Actually, you need to be so good in communication that people need to think that you are 100% or 120% when you're only 90%. You have to learn how to communicate your skills, communicate what you're capable of doing, communicate what you've done, your achievement. You have to communicate what you want. You have to learn how to get what you want by understanding the other person. That's also communication. You have to understand the expectations of your boss, the expectations of the market. That's also communication. That's listening, right? And then you have to communicate your ability to get those things done, to be the best person for that job. Communication, that's the second skill, but I will say it's a mindset. It's not only a skill, it's a mindset. How many times you see experts, they're very good at what they do, but they don't like to communicate. They will always be in demand, but they will never blow like they should blow. And I'm sure you see people, you like, that person is so knowledgeable. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people who think like that. They don't communicate on what they do. They feel like people should just recognize them. People should just give them what they deserve. But you don't get what you deserve. You get what you ask nicely. You get what you ask. You get what you become. That's why communication is one of the skills. That's why learning constantly is one of the skills. You get what you ask. You get what you become, right? So communication, that's the second mindset. It's a mindset because you have to understand that everything you do needs to be communicated. That whatever you do is useless for other people if they don't know that it's useful for them. Whatever you do is useless for other people if they don't know that it's useful for them. Okay? Communication, that's the second thing. The third thing that I wanted to emphasize as well is we are all human beings. It means we have strengths and we have weaknesses. What is very important for you to understand is a career is based on your strengths. If you haven't got that position that you want, it's because you haven't got the quality, you haven't become that person, you haven't got the strengths required for that job, or you haven't communicated enough that you have the strength you required for that job. So it's truly and very important that you focus on your strengths. If you don't have a certain strength, then you need to build it to get to that career level that you want. You need to build it to get to that expertise level, to that recognition, to that level of money, right? Even if you want to become an entrepreneur, you have to work and to build your strengths, and you have to play on your strengths. The market is competitive. That's the jungle out there. Everything you do, you have people who also want your seat, right? So you have to really play on your strengths, because this is the area where you will actually excel. That's also the area where you will be the most fulfilled. When you play on your strengths, this is the area where you can actually reach the peak performance in your life. It's when you play on your strengths. And you have to realize that every single skill that you have, every natural skills and talent that you have is useful in this world. That's why when you choose your career, you have to rely on what you have as a natural talent, right? But we're going to talk about it in another video, like how do you craft your career? How do you actually decide what is the best for you in the market, right? So that's the third. The last one that is also critical, right, is you have to approach your career strategically. You have to be intentional. You have to think. You have to make plans. You have to be strategic in your approach in your career. And you need the three first foundations to be strategic. Because let's look at it. If you look at learning constantly, growing constantly, you need those foundations, because you know that you will be learning certain type of skills to get to a certain level in your career or to a certain type of jobs. So you create a strategy, like a learning strategy to get to where you want to get. Like if you want to become the president of the United States, let's say Obama, he created that plan years in advance. And he knew that to become a president, this is what is needed from me, because this is what other presidents have done. And he started building that and working that plan. That's being strategic. If you look at the second skill, it's, as we say, communication. You need to be strategic. How do you communicate? When you are a salesperson, it's completely different than communicating when you're an engineer. Why? Because maybe you need to communicate better facts, figures, and let the numbers talk. But when you're a salesperson, maybe you need to communicate more emotions, right? Because that's what is triggering the purchasing act. So it's completely different, and you need to be strategic in what communication skills you want to enhance. Is it written communication? Is it verbal communication, right? It's also different depending on the type of careers that you want. And the last thing, right? We talked about playing on the strengths. That's the same thing. So you need to be strategic, because if you choose a career where where your natural talents don't help you, you're going to be struggling. Imagine Albert Einstein, trying to play basketball against Michael Jordan. He will never win. It will never be Einstein if he was to go and play basketball. And it's the same for Michael Jordan. If he was trying to do science, he will never be Einstein. So Einstein is good at what he's doing. Michael Jordan is good at what he's doing. You are good at what you're doing because you have some natural talents. And the purpose of career, growth strategy is to identify your strengths, identify your natural talents, and grow that. It's focusing on that so that you become a peak performer at that. That's the way to create a fulfilling career. That's the way to create a career where you become an excellent person, when you become an expert, where you become recognized, where you get that status, and when you get the most money out of your career. And sometimes where you can even start charging as a consultant afterwards, right? So that's what I wanted to share with you, those 4 things. I believe that you have everything in yourself to succeed. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise. But you have to start creating those foundations, right? And you're going to build on top of it. It's really important. So if you are in your career right now and you need, let's say, help or counseling, that's what we do. Like, we help, career-driven people who want to excel in their careers, right? Maybe they want to change careers and they have a dream career that they want to reach, right? We help them to do that. Or maybe they get stuck, right? And they want to get that promotion, want to become a manager, to become an executive. You want to be strategic about it, right? Or it's just maybe that job that you're not getting because you go into the interviews, all that. We help people about it. So I put a link below this video. If you want help in your career, you want to create the ultimate growth career for you, we're here to help. So just click on the video there, and me and my team, right, we have our calendar there, and we can book a call with us and we can start looking at that, right? So I'll talk to you on another video. So don't forget, if you really need some help with your career, we're here to help. So just click on the link and we can set you up. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.